deceptively simple, the implications of this are extremely deep. We're here at Rabbi Nachman's The Lost Princess, the spiritual path, the side path to spiritual success, what happens when we leave the main pathway. The fullest expression of unity, a well-known teaching from the Holy Zohar states that every Jewish soul is sourced in one of the Torah's 600,000 letters, each different from the next, each with a unique path to spiritual success. As I said, deceptively simple, the implications of this teaching are extremely deep. One of the theological foundations of Yiddishkeit is the idea of essential collectivism. I'll explain that. This means that all members of our holy nation make up one organism. Individual cells in a singular structure, drops in a vast ocean, sparks of a single torch. Recently, we were just incredibly blessed to have the hostages released. Abbas was quoted as saying, I remember sometime last year, he said, "What is it? There was just a handful, there was 100 hostages. Why do we care so much? Because we do. We're not like the other nations. We are one. Taken as a whole, the Jewish nation serves as a glorious stained glass window through which Hashem's light shines to illuminate the world. Lacking even a single shard, a single hue, that window would stand incomplete. Indeed, Knesset Yisrael, the collective soul of the Jewish nation, is bound with the concept of Malchus, Peh, as it says in Pesach Eliyahu, introduction to Zohar, the mouth, for we are Hashem's mouthpiece to the world. We share messages from a spiritual realm beyond, through our attempt to embody the Torah's ideal in holy thoughts, words, and actions of holiness. Our holy nation serves as a constant reminder of an omnipotent creator and humanity's responsibilities to him. You are my witness, says Hashem from Yeshayahu 43:10. It is possible to suggest that this is one aspect of what the Zohar intends to communicate, and drawing a connection between the root souls of the Jewish nation and the letters of the Torah. A gathering of Jews for a holy purpose represents a collection of letters into sentences and words, an expression of the Shekhinah's presence. In fact, I'll digress in the footnote. Perhaps this explains why our sages place such a stress on praying with a congregation and the concept of Beroz Hadras Melech. Indeed, Berov Am, the more Jews that gather and cause their letters to combine Hadras, this accentuates the communication of Melech, Malchus Peh, our expression of Hashem's sovereignty over the world. So, it is possible to suggest that, much like the stained glass analogy above, missing letters will detract from the coherence of the message. We need each and every one of us. You shall surely meet some of us as you trudge this path, as it says in the big book of Alshech Anonymous. The participation of every Jew is a required element for the ultimate success of our shared mission. However, there's a deeper level as well. In addition to communicating the idea of essential collectivism, this analogy expresses an almost paradoxical condition necessary for the expression of our collective soul and her mission, maintenance of and respect for uniqueness and individuality. There's another factor that detracts from the coherence of a sentence in much the same way as missing letters, and that is a lack of requisite space between the letters. If all the Torah's letters were to be blended into a giant mass of ink, it would be impossible to discern its messages. It would be impossible to read or study, and humanity would be deprived of this enormous treasure chest of objective morality and absolute truth. Paradoxically, because it will destroy any hope for coherence, a sense of extreme individuality, negating unity, will in fact obscure the messages these letters have joined together in the hope to convey. Indeed, if it is to be kosher, the letters of a Sefer Torah need to be completely surrounded by parchment. If any two letters are touching one another to the point that their forms are indistinguishable, this entire Sefer Torah is invalid. Again, we won't read from it. We'll grab a chumash, a book form, but the Sefer Torah is invalid. The fact of our essential unity does nothing to negate the value of our uniqueness. There's all of us and there's each of us. On the contrary, each member of Knesset Yisrael is charged with utilizing his or her unique talents and propensities for the purpose of our shared mission of revealing Hashem's light in the world. It is only when the letters of the Torah scroll, that is, the Jewish nation, are properly separated in their unique expression, that our unified and singular message will be coherent to the world. In sum, instead of detracting from it, Jewish individuality expressed in both the mundane areas of life as well as in Avodas Hashem allows for the fullest expression of our essential oneness. Again, from the footnotes, parenthetically, when a Jew utilizes his or her uniqueness for the purpose of the singular mission of our general collective soul, the singular and ultimately limited letter of their individuality becomes seen as a Reshei Tevos, revealing hidden abilities and powers that are far greater than the limit apparent on the surface. Using this idea, perhaps it is possible to draw a relationship between the Hasidic fascination with Reshei Tevos and the stress on individuality in the Hasidic teachings. Perhaps the focus upon the depth hidden beyond the surface of a simple letter enabled the Tzaddikim to believe in the incredible power packed into the soul of every individual Jew. For a deeper exploration of Netrikon and its relationship with personal abilities seen in Ayah, Shabbos 12:33. Essentially, each of us is unique, again, but it's when all of us are taken together and collectively that we make the expression of Hashem's unity in the world. This is why even it is said at times, if every Jew is practicing Avodas Hashem, but Zara, for all following gods of our own making, but we are united, we are not considered as having sinned to the point of needing destruction. Again, united is paramount. So, how can we make Yiddishkeit our own? So in the first passage of the Kriyas Shema, we read that each member of our holy nation is commanded to serve Hashem b'chol levavecha, b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol ma'odecha. Every day, twice a day, we're commanded to say the Shema and reiterate with that we are united, each member of our holy nation, with all of one's heart, all of one's soul, and all of one's might. Chazal, our sages expound on this first teaching that serving Hashem with all our heart means with the inclination for both good and evil. B'chol nafsheka means to meseref nefesh, we willing to give up our lives, has v'shalom, if need be. And b'chol me'odecha means to serve Hashem with all our assets. In other words, I would give anything. Half measures availed us not. Are we willing to go to any length? The Tzaddikim revealed that while B'chol Mo'edecha can be translated with all your might or with all your assets, there's a deeper level as well. Although it's difficult to translate, the Hebrew word me'od connotes more or very, as in the phrase tov ma'od, very good. This means that literally translated, the words b'chol me'odecha, with all of your me'od, means with all of your very. Well, very what? With all of that which is especially you. That one thing that is more related to your essence than of anyone else. Read in this manner, this verse encourages each member of the Jewish nation to find his or her me'od, that one special area in which we can particularly excel and use it to serve Hashem. In fact, for a sampling of the many sources that abound to this effect, you can see Shabbos 118b in the Gemara. What was your father particularly scrupulous in? One that was born under the mazel of Madim, which means he's a murderous nature, should become either a ritual slaughterer or a moil or a surgeon. In other words, these challenges that we face are a challenge in this reincarnation. And this goal in this life is to find ways to use these things for our highest good and the good of all of us, Klal Yisrael. Use those things that could be used, Chas v'shalom, for evil, turn them to the good. Nuclear energy can be used, obviously, to the bad, but laser technology has granted us amazing technological advances in medicine and in so many other areas. Each person has his own individual path. In fact, Yitzchak Avinu represents the Midah of Gevurah, while his father Abraham represented the Midah of Chesed. This demonstrates that every Jew must find his own way of serving Hashem that is unique from the paths of his father or teacher. Yaakov, the son and grandson, the third generation, was known for Tiferet, for beauty, for blending the Chesed and the Gevurah in a balanced harmony. In fact, in our prayers every day we say, the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov, the God of our own understanding, of course, as it fits within the boundaries. So the Ishbitzer teaches that this is why, in the second paragraph of Shema, which switches from the singular, B'chol Levavecha, with all your heart, to the plural, B'chol Levavechem, with all your hearts, only Levavechem and Nafshechem are mentioned. There's no mention of B'chol Meodechem, because B'chol Meodechem refers to each individual's special mission that is unique to him. It is inherently singular, something which the Torah can only command each individual in particular, and not the entire Jewish nation as a whole. Sometimes we stand alone as a person, as a Jewish nation in the world. As long as we embody the highest values of what Hashem wants for us in this world, then we're doing Hashem's wills. In addition to the general universal mission of the Jewish nation as a whole, each individual Jew was sent down to this world to accomplish something specific and unique, to perfect one particular aspect of its relationship with Hashem, with others, and with himself. The Malbim explains that the verse describing the Torah, its ways are pleasant ways and all of its paths are peaceful, refers to these two modes. The ways of Torah refer to the broad general guidelines of Jewish living, while the paths of Torah refer to the individual mission of each Jewish soul, the avodah specific to his or her tikkun alone. While the entity of the Jewish nation will merit redemption, its members will be gathered up one by one. In other words, this path to the side, as the Viceroy leaves the main path and travels to find the lost princess, what we call Malchus, the princess. Being the lowest sphera is referred to as Aretz, the earth, the land. Perhaps this is hinted to in the following verse. Echad haya Avraham ve'yirash es ha'oretz. Abraham was unique and he inherited the land, from Yehezkel 33:24. When a person discovers his unique path in Avodas Hashem, this enables him to inherit the earth, Malchus, to free the lost princess of his life. Subsequently, I found a remarkable teaching, says the author, from Reb Tzadok, that echoes this sentiment. In the discourse, Reb Tzadok teaches that the 5 appearances of various forms of the phrase, will inherit the land, in Tehillim chapter 37, refers to 5 paths with regard to rectifying the sin of immorality. The fulfillment of the Viceroy's, the Brit, the Yisod, the Bris, redeem the Shekhinah, the immorality of use of our sexuality in ways not for the highest good. These methods are 5 ways: Torah study, constant prayer, humility, one who never sinned, and yearning for Hashem's assistance and rectification. In other words, okay, we've done the sin, we can go forward, and we're not here to be tzaddikim in the way that we wouldn't sin, but Torah study, constant prayer. Do I engage? Have I learned to connect to Hashem in all my ways at all times, to remind ourselves, myself, to gaze at the sky and be reminded of Hashem, to see someone wearing tzitzis, my own and others, to be reminded of the 613 mitzvot, to pay attention to the mezuzah on the door, on and on. Humility. This is an anonymous program. Why? One of the reasons is it's not about me, mine. It's about us. It's about It's about personalities before. It's about all of us together before personalities. Okay, so Rob Cook writes, the difference between slavery and freedom is not only a matter of external status, where one person is imprisoned to a master while another person is not imprisoned. It is possible to find an intelligent slave whose spirit is full of freedom, and it is also possible to find a free person who has the spirit of a slave. True freedom is when a person or nation is driven by an exalted spirit to stay true to the inner essence of the divine image within. I am free to choose to stay sober today, to be free, to stay driven by my values, a connection to a higher power, to be able to pass on what I've been freely given. In the words of Reb Shlomo Carlebach, and I'll close with, the book of Psalms, the book of Tehillim is not just a book of prayer, it's the book where David HaMelech, where King David is teaching the world how to serve Hashem. There's a passage in the Psalms that says, Nir iragli divarchecha. Your words are a candle for my feet, ve'or nesivasa, and a light for my path. Tehillim 119, verse 105, the Ispitzer says that this is what King David is saying. There are two things that in life that I have to do. First, I have to be like everyone else. I have to follow every word of the Torah, the 613 words. But then there is something which only I can do. Hashem has chosen me to do something very special. My experience, strength, and hope, in my words. In a nutshell, the Ispitzer says there's a light which lights up the path, but every person needs a candle for each step of the way. And this is from Reb Shlomo Carlebach, The Soul of Hanukkah, page 41. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you next time.